What the heck just happened to shares of identity management king Okta tonight? Okta's moving lower in after-hours trading, despite reporting what looked to me like a pretty strong first quarter. The only possible negative was that the company only maintained rather than raised its full-year sales guidance, even as it raised the rest of its full-year outlook. Seems to me like a silly reason for such a big sell-off, given that the CEO is just being prudent. But don't take it from me. Earlier today, we had a chance to speak to Okta co-founder, chairman, and CEO Todd McKinnon to get a better look at the quarter and the latest trends in his industry. Please take a look. All right, so Todd, I've got to tell you, when I say better read in the quarter, why I actually meant that, because I want people to start before they decide, wait a second, revenue guidance, this quarter was a true blowout. This quarter had so many new customers. This quarter also deflected to me the problem people were worried about the federal government. None of that happened. Talk about the huge clients you had, the big growth you had.
Yeah, we're very excited about the performance in Q1. 4 of our top 10 deals in the quarter were with in the public sector, which is very strong for us, strong part of our business, and 2 of the top 3. So overall, you know, the performance by Okta is very consistent with Q4, where we had great momentum with large customers. Our $1 million plus cohort of customers in Q1 grew 20%, fastest growing cohort. And again, if you zoom out, this is because identity is even more important than ever. We talk about security. Identity is security. To be secure, you have to have a solid identity foundation. And now in this world of AI and agentic AI, these agents are going to be everywhere. And they're going to need access to everything. And you have to have Okta to give that access to this agentic future we're embarking upon.
I know that both Jensen Huang at NVIDIA and Mark Benioff at Salesforce are deeply focused right now on this whole problem with agentics. I would think that an agentic could easily, let's say, frame you or actually become you. And you are probably one of the few companies, if the only company, that can stop that.
Yeah, well, everyone's very excited about the potential, but with all the great potential of technology comes risks and uncertainty. And where we are in the industry right now, Jim, is that we're moving from a world of prototype to production. Everyone is excited about the prototypes of what these agents can do for us, and they're popping up everywhere. They're writing software, they're doing customer support in the prototype world. And now we're moving them to production. And when you move into production, what that means is you have to give them access to real systems, real data, real customer data, your customer data. And the only way to do that securely is with Okta and with a great identity management foundation that can manage the right access, not only to your people and your customers, but also your agents.
Is that one of the reasons why you added 70 customers with over $100,000 in annual contract value, which is an incredibly fast rate?
They're seeing, yeah, these customers, large and small and everything in between, they're seeing this issue of going from prototypes to production. And when you go to production, you have to have a real solution in place. It's not just enough to make it look good in the demo or make it look good in the user conference. It actually has to work, and part of it working is solid security and solid access management, which is what we've been talking about, Jim, for years and years and years. And now, first it was cloud transformation that made the imperative for identity more strong than ever. Then we started talking about security and how to manage this new perimeter, you couldn't use a firewall. You had to have identity and you had to have strong authentication. Now we're in this AI world where the potential is tremendous, but now that we move from prototypes to production, the risks are high as well.
All right, now, let's talk about some of the things that seem to be disconcerting to people, but maybe shouldn't be if they're explained. You talk about in the forward guidance, one of the reasons why you're being prudent is because your go-to-market specialization that was rolled out. Now, people say, well, wait a second, was it not rolled out well? Is Todd himself unhappy with it? Can you explain why someone should not be as concerned about this?
We have these 2 amazing platforms with the Okta platform and the Auth0 platform, both of which have become much more powerful in the last few years. So specialized sellers are more able to convey the value and perform better over many, many quarters. And specialization is off to a strong start. Auth0 had a really strong quarter.
Right.
And the pipeline built throughout the quarter, and we're very optimistic about the rest of the world. The world is a more uncertain place, Jim, than it was just a month ago or 2 months ago. And I think in the forward guidance, in the next quarter and the next couple of quarters, we're being conservative. But that doesn't make us less excited about the long-term future for our business. Identity is security, especially in an AI world, and we're more excited than ever.
Yeah, but look, I had the same thing happen. I was talking to another great executive you know well in the industry, Nikesh Arora, for Palo Alto. It's a company I really, really love, and he was expressing how, look, how can he not be a little more uncertain? It would be almost unrealistic if you were certain, particularly even when you wake up today and you find out that EU might negotiate on Friday, it might not. But why do you think people rebel against the idea of prudence at a moment when prudence is probably about as dictated as I've ever seen it?
I think they're trading off long-term versus short-term. And I think people want the long-term benefits and the long-term growth and the long-term market penetration. They want it now, they want it faster. And I think sometimes these things, take time to play out, and it's prudent to have short-term conservatism with long-term optimism.
Well, let's talk about once again about how you're protecting non-human identities, in particular verticals. Because one of the things I was working on today when I was looking at Salesforce buying Informatica, the big worries are regulated businesses. They're having the tough time in healthcare. They're having a really tough time in banking. How are you doing with those verticals?
Well, these verticals are some of have the most to gain by the next wave of technology, and frankly, the most to lose, not only from a customer trust and a customer confidence perspective, but also regulatory oversight. And these are the kind of industries where our solutions for non-human identity are really resonating, because a lot of these industries that you mentioned, these regulated industries, have done a good job locking down human identity. They have good standards for strong password checking and even passwordless, and removing passwords altogether and making sure that only people log in from approved devices and patient information is secure. And now the next challenge is all the service accounts and all the access tokens, all these things these AI agents need to automate these workflows in a powerful, expressive way. Those things need to be secure. And that's what we're doing with our solutions for non-human identity and privileged access management.
In the old days, Todd, you always told me if we were prudent and heads up and thought about it, we wouldn't click on the wrong thing. All of us today on Squawk on the Street got the same thing yesterday from the New York Department of Motor Vehicles. I swear, if it were not a holiday, I would have clicked on it. It just was too good. What can we do to stop that? I know that's not Okta's bailiwick, but it's become everybody's bailiwick.
Yeah, I think the right answer is this. It's hard to rely on the right human behavior when these things, especially in the age of AI, look so convincing. What really is the right solution is to make sure that the services and the work systems and the websites and the mobile apps have strong identity without passwords, no passwords. You can't be phished. You can't be tricked into typing your password into a malicious website if you don't have a password. So that's the thing I do. When I talk to customers, in the last couple of months, I've been to Europe. Last couple of months, I've been to DC. I've been to New York, financial services. And the thing I say over and over is, don't put the onus on your users. Take away the password. And that's the technology we have to help customers do that. And that's part of the reason we're having such success in the market.
All right. Well, look, this is terrific. I know you long enough to know that you do what's prudent, not what's excessive, that you're not judgmental, that you actually try to figure out, okay, what is the best for people who are thinking about buying the stock? And that's what you've done, and that's all I can ask for when I'm trying to buy a stock. So I want to thank Todd McKinnon, co-founder, CEO of Okta, whose stock is down, but I've got to tell you, I think down for the, well, let's just say I think it's wrong. Thank you, Todd.
Thanks for having me, Jim. We're here for the long term.
Oh, you bet you are. And he is. I've talked to Todd many, many years now, and he does what I think is right, not what I think is reckless. Mad Money's back in.
Coming up, Cramer takes your calls, and the sky's the limit. It's a fast-fire lightning round. Next. Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.